Hey everyone, Retro Tech Dad here, and as promised I have a very quick and early look at the ABXYLUTE Handheld. You might have seen my community post, but I received this prototype unit on Friday and I have been starting to get quite familiar with the device. So the ABXYLUTE team first reached out to me back in December, and they have finally gotten the device to the point that I can take a look at this test model. The ABXYLUTE team has not required that I show any videos I produced beforehand, which was absolutely critical to me in order to take on this unit for coverage. I will be producing a video that will be much lengthier and far more detailed, and I will cover aspects of the device starting from its primary focus as a cloud-centric handheld to native Android gaming, seeing how far we can push the emulation limits, a teardown, full overview of the software, hardware, comparisons to other handhelds including the G Cloud, and pretty much everything that you have come to expect from my lengthy in-depth videos. So if you aren't aware, ABXYLUTE is primarily a cloud gaming focused handheld meant to be used with streaming services such as Xbox Game Pass Cloud, Geforce Now, and Steam Link. The device has a few key features that they are aiming to optimize around the streaming experience, including a 7-inch 1920 by 1080 display, Hall linear triggers and Hall rockers, a 5200 mAh battery with what the ABXYLUTE team claims to have more than 8 hours of battery life. It is using a Mediatek 8365, and I personally have some reservations about this, but I understand that this chip was chosen to keep pricing down, and as the ABXYLUTE team has mentioned that this is strictly a cloud-focused device first. However, I will definitely be examining all of these specs and testing battery performance, which will all be discussed in my in-depth video. The product has been in development for almost a year, and they plan to launch a Kickstarter campaign, and at this time their plan is to have mass delivery units ready in 2 months, which can obviously change given that this is still in active development. I will briefly comment and say that the device does have some issues that the team claims will be addressed when the final units are ready to be shipped. They are still taking feedback, addressing issues that are found, optimizing, and continuing to polish the handheld. Again, I will discuss all of this in my upcoming video. So for this quick preview video, we will be briefly looking at only cloud and local streaming services. At this time, that is the only footage that I am allowed to share with everyone. First up, let's take a look at some local streaming, and we will start with one of my favorite apps for this, which is Moonlight. Here I am streaming my Steam and Xbox Game Pass library for my local PC. Now when we talk about streaming, there are obviously variables at play here, including the strength of your own network, so things like the type of router you have are obviously essential. I also strongly suggest that if you are considering local streaming to hardwire your PC, which is exactly what I have done here with my desktop PC. So you have probably seen me already launch my PC through Moonlight and mess around with big picture mode, just going back and forth navigating. I am trying to convey as much as possible on screen the type of delay we are dealing with. To me, this is working exceptionally well, and as I said, Moonlight is a really great way to do game streaming. Anyways, the game that I have launched is ABZU, and I thought this would be a fun one to show off because of the vibrant colors in the game. For my next test, I decided to launch a personal favorite of mine, and that is Mora EX, and I decided to use a shoot 'em up as I thought it's another good test with lots of action happening on screen. Again, Moonlight is an exceptional experience. The thing about Moonlight is that it's also very good at scaling to your network. Now I have this set to a 1080p and 60 frames per second video stream, but you can adjust settings as needed to accommodate your network. So let's move over to the PlayStation side and do one last bit of local streaming with some PS5 remote play. For this I am using the PS Play app, and while not as forgiving as Moonlight, this is definitely a case where the strength of your local network setup will produce better results, as is always the case with any type of game streaming. For this, I do have the stream set to a 1080p feed, and my PS5 is hardwired to my router. Here I am testing God of War Ragnarok, and again I think this is doing quite well, and the image is very sharp, there isn't any artifacting, and the stream quality is not noticeably compressed. For PS5 remote play, I did experience an occasional hiccup, and again, this could very well be the weakness of my own network, but I will be doing some further testing, especially when compared to some other cloud-focused devices, to support my hunches. Okay, now let's test a few cloud-based services, and up first, let's do a little Xbox Game Pass Cloud. Now, my test unit does not have Google Play services installed, and I did reach out to the ABZU team asking them if the final units will have this part of the software package. They did let me know that they have passed GMS certification by Google, and so this pre-market engineering sample just doesn't have it included. Unfortunately, the official Game Pass beta app will not work properly without Google Play services installed, so instead I am using a technique that I use with my G Cloud, which is to use the Kiwi browser to spoof the Edge browser as if I am on a Windows 10 machine. This actually results in a better feed for Game Pass Cloud, so it's something I would have probably tested regardless. If you are curious about this method, I have it linked down below in the description box. Now here in my home, I have a 500 megabit connection with very low latency. However, in my experience, Game Pass Cloud is not a perfect service, but mostly having to do with the quality of the feed itself. However, it's pretty good here, and I think overall a pretty nice experience. I think that Forza Horizon 5 is a good game to test with, as there's a lot of action happening on screen, and you've probably noticed by now that I keep looking back and forth on purpose to force quick changes on screen to see how it handles that. Okay, moving on to another cloud-based service. Here I have Geforce Now, and similar to my local test, I've decided to employ the use of a shmup here. And here is Darius Burst, and as you can see, even on the free Geforce Now tier, the gameplay experience is pretty solid overall. Alright, so that is all I have for everyone in this video. Definitely expect to see a pretty lengthy video covering this device in the future. Now, in my testing of the device, the ABZYLUTE team does seem to be aware of current issues with the engineering sample I have in my hands. I will definitely be pointing out more things to the team as I discover them, and hopefully this will have a positive impact for anyone that is potentially interested in the device. It does appear that they are working hard to get things very polished for when they are ready for mass production units. I will now be focusing on putting together my in-depth video for the ABZYLUTE, and if you have any questions, or if there's something specific you'd like to see on this prototype unit, please let me know down in the comments section. I will definitely try my best to answer and include as many requests as I can possible in that video. And with that, I am the Retro Tech Dad, and as always, thank you so much for watching.